To make the NBA, not only do you have to be one of the most impressive players in the entire world, not only do you have to stand out among everybody else you're competing against, but you also have to spend a year out of high school, you have to attend college for at least one season, or you have to be at least 19 years of age. If you ask me, it's a funny system that's actually quite hilarious. If you know you're an elite basketball player, if you're a top prospect, why do you have to spend a year out of high school? Why do you have to pretty much be forced to go basically anywhere but the NBA for a chance to compete in the NBA and prove yourself? Historically, these rules have led to a lot of players being funneled into the NCAA. And I can't lie, it's made for some exciting NCAA basketball. But the thing is, a lot of these big names, these big players, they make up collegiate basketball. They're the reason that not everybody watches, but I think it's safe to say that they're the reason that a lot of us do. When you look at high school basketball, there have been so many great players that have came out of high school and gone right into the NBA. LeBron James, one of the best basketball players to ever play the game, right out of high school. Kobe Bryant, one of the most talented players the league has ever seen, right out of high school. Kevin Garnett, even though he didn't post the most dominant numbers in his rookie season, he's another Hall of Fame player that came right out of high school. A lot of times we see players going to college, and college gets credit for their development, even though a lot of these players, they don't reach their full potential or close to it until they come in the NBA and they start working with NBA type trainers. You see, what college basketball does, in my opinion, is it teaches you to play basketball in a system. Anthony Davis was the #1 pick production wise, but also potential wise. Of course, though, recently, I do think we've seen a small shift in the way college basketball is being played. And we've also seen players develop staying multiple years at college. Buddy Hield being one of the more notable ones. He worked his way up to a high pick in the NBA draft. When the NBA changed its rules to disallow players coming right out of high school and going right to the NBA, I'm pretty sure the thought process was, or at least what the NBA wanted us to think, was it was doing this to protect the players. But my opinion, I think it was more so to protect the GMs. It was to protect some of these NBA teams, but hey, maybe it was both. But in my opinion, the reality of it is that a lot of these college teams, they don't care about these players, and they know it. The transfer rules in the NCAA, they can simply destroy a career. I've literally seen it happen. I've always looked at players coming right out of high school kind of like this. Look, education is important. In fact, it's irreplaceable. But if you're a basketball player and you're coming out of high school, the chances are that college is always going to be there. What's not going to be there is the chance to earn the money that you can earn coming right out of high school. Say you come out of high school and you actually are a bust in the NBA. You're good enough to play in just about any other league on the planet. Chances are you're going to be viewed as a young player with tons and tons of potential. Your potential earnings, those are going to be unreal. Recently, we've been starting to see more players sit out a season or forego college basketball altogether. I'm talking about big names. I'm talking about some really big names. And as the names get bigger, I think we'll start to see this become a more common feat. Jalen Green is in fact one of those names. And he's not doing it how you might expect. One of, if not the most exciting player in this country, also ranked #1 in his class. NBADraft.net calls Jalen Green a 6'5" athletic guard with good length. Quick first step, and in the open floor, he's light on his feet and glides on the court. This guy plays high above the rim. Sometimes you see players, they're just athletes. Jalen Green, he's the complete package with the scorer's mentality. Offensively, NBADraft.net compares him to Eddie Jones. Some say Zach LaVine. Hey guys, before we go any further, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another GETLIKECOOP video. And that's facts. Also guys, be sure to follow my IG, handle GETLIKECOOP. Shams reports that Jalen Green, potential #1 pick in the 2021 NBA draft, says he is bypassing college and signing in the NBA G League. Initially, Shams reported that Jalen Green's G League deal is expected to be in the range of $500,000, and it has an ability to reach more with endorsements, appearances, and education. It appears the NBA is going all in, because Jalen Green will also headline a new G League team in Los Angeles and focus on development and preparation for the NBA. Basically, Jalen Green is getting his own South California team. South Cali is amazing, and I'm looking forward to every second of this. You guys remember the JBA? Just hear me out for a second. Would it be absurd to say that the JBA helped pave the way for something like this? I think the JBA had a good idea, but the execution was just absolutely terrible. If I recall correctly, I think the JBA was supposed to help pay for college, and also it was supposed to give these players an environment to help become better and prepare themselves for the next level. And at least relative to who was playing in the JBA at the time and relative to college basketball, these players had a chance to make some somewhat decent cash. At least in my opinion, the JBA, I think it applied some pressure. But not only did the JBA apply pressure, I think a major reason for this happening is not only the corruption that's been going on in the NCAA, but with LaMelo Ball going overseas and playing in the NBL, I think the NBA saw opportunity, and that opportunity was to make as much money as possible. I can't imagine how much money LaMelo Ball has helped make the NBL. I can't imagine that the NBA saw LaMelo Ball in the NBL and thought, hey, that could be us. Of course, naturally, it's going to be the NBA eventually, but I think the NBA took notice, and they took notice to the program that the NBL had in place to start off the 2018-2019 season. The program, it's called the Next Stars program. It's an attempt to further solidify the league's growth and standing as a legitimate stepping stone to the NBA. The Next Stars program gives players an opportunity to earn over $100,000 per year with perks like an apartment, car, flights, and amenities such as personal development training. Hey man, I love the NBL. It's an incredibly competitive league, but it looks like the competition for NBA talent might have just gotten a little more real. Now, one of the incredible things about this Jalen Green deal is not only is it incredibly lucrative, he's eligible to eclipse over $1 million, and that's what it's believed that the deal is going to do. But Jalen Green is also going to get a scholarship. Chris Haynes reports that the G League is going to provide him with a full ride scholarship. So he's going to be able to go back to college and finish school. So it's not really like he's missing out on school, because he can just go back and finish whenever he needs to. To go even more in depth, Woj reports that Green is committing to become part of a year-long development program with G League's oversight that'll include pro coaching, top prospects, and veteran players who will combine training and exhibition game competitions against the likes of G League teams, national teams, and NBA academies. Woj also reports that the NBA, this is coming from the G League's president, he reports that the NBA is the best development system in the world, and those players shouldn't have to go elsewhere to develop for a year. They should be in our development system. I'm a little shocked that it took this long and the NBA and these players starting to go elsewhere for the NBA to take action. But of course, the saying always goes that better late than never. Of course, you guys know where I stand on this whole thing. I would like for players to just be able to come right out of high school and get their worth right then and there. But of course, steps in the right direction should never be taken for granted, because we have seen leagues time and time again show no willingness to negotiate, show the ability to be completely stubborn and act within their own right. And of course, those leagues should be frowned upon. But one thing about the NBA is that this league is open under Adam Silver, and for better and for worse. Silver is somebody that's not afraid to experiment. When you look at the MLB, you look at the Premier League, you look at some of these other leagues around the world, even basketball leagues, you look at the Euro League, and you have these players that are these very young pros. I think it helps their development And at a young age, it could help give players clarity and a lot of options. But I do think there are some problems with the system. It's not perfect and it does need work. But of course, I do think players being able to come out of high school added some more value to the NBA draft and the late round picks. Hopefully the NBA keeps working at its current pace and finds a system that's great for everybody in the long term. Oh yeah, Jalen Green's not gonna be alone. They're getting 5-star prospect Isaiah Todd, who decommitted from Michigan. A lot of people see some Melo in his game. I see a lot of Michael Porter Jr., who I think is going to be a star in the NBA. You want to talk about a G League team with some firepower? I'd hate trying to make it and going against these two. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now, guys. It's incredibly dope. Be sure to subscribe. Notice on. I'm GETLIKECOOP, and I am out.